God, fucking damn. How in the how come it's not on? Come it's not reading 4. God fucking damn. Well, SoCal is burning. Karen Bass and Newsom are facilitating it. Trump is saving the day by sending in the National Guard. Now the Marines. Lots of stuff going on. Plus, we'll have the RivCo sheriff on top of that. Are they cutting the police budget in Riverside County after all this? Who knows? Trump says this.
It very closely, and when they spit at people, you know, they spit. That's their new thing. They spit, and worse, you know what they throw at them, right? And when that happens, I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit.
That's the great Donald J. Trump. Restoring order to Southern California. They spit, we hit. Of course, we're going to have more coverage on top of that. Motorcyclist, what a maroon. He's going to breach the cop line with a motorcycle. Here's the footage from CNN. As you see them walk, police holding the line in downtown Los Angeles. This clown comes, you see that, right through, hits the cops, almost flips over. This is all on Karen Bass and Newsom and the whole left-wing liberal nutcase crew. Corey LaJoy at Michigan flips her. NASCAR on NBC. Here we go. So you see him going sideways. Car lifts out of the air, and upside down he goes at Michigan with the slide for life. There you see the slow motion action as he turns her over. That can kill you. LA police attacked with fireworks, rocks, Molotov cocktails. You see LA disingenuous. LA police chief Jim McDonnell will have more on that much later on. Sheriff Chad Bianco says Riverside County Board of Supervisors are cutting his budget. Here's a little preview.
And each year since, as it remains relevant to our budget. One of the promises I made back in 2019 was that I would commit to being the most transparent sheriff in our county's history, particularly when it comes to our budget. It is my belief.
So we will see how that works out. Surprising developments down at the RivCo Board of Supervisors. Gavin Newsom with his little interview. Of course, like Bass, like Maxine, like Gavin Newsom, like the SEIU president, we're all going to blame Trump for the riots. And of course, disingenuous Newsom is going to try to play, oh, I'm badass, come get me. I hope Homan eats his lunch. It's going to be very interesting times we're living in. It's going to be absolutely fantastic show here in the next hour or so. Plus, we'll have Dr. Kelly at 5:30, as we usually do on a Monday. There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday, live at 5 or close to it, on the Evil Hippie Network, Rumble, X, all that good stuff that you run YouTube on the Roy Blecker channel. Have some fun on the social media networks. Plus, we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMET 1490 AM, as we usually do at the bottom of the hour, all the time, every weekday. Along with the Sheriff Chad deal, and we'll get into the budget, I wasn't able to stay, obviously, running around trying to do all sorts of things today. Did get into the budget hearings at Riverside County, and they are cutting, according to Sheriff Chad, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department budget. We warned of this. Looks like the Benoit jail might sit empty, 2 or 3/4 of it anyway. What, for the 7th straight year that it's been completed, we're only utilizing 1 of 4 floors? Absolutely unconscionable we could let that go at this particular time. But man, the big story, of course, of the day, as we rock and roll with all sorts of good stuff. And there goes my nice little computers that go haywire, and my earpiece falls out at the same time. We can see, why is everything going nuts? Oh, it's been one of those particular days that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Know why my main computer is not feeding. Gosh, and it's got a hook again. It's a Monday. We get to deal with all these fun and incredulous devices that decide we're working fine earlier. And now, here we go. Finally got it. Trump sent the National Guard in. What? He let Karen Bass and Newsom, Jim McDonald, the chief of police of LA, Looney Tunes, Robert Luna, the LA County Sheriff. He gave them 24 hours to get the rioting situation under control down in Los Angeles. They failed to do so. Then they started blaming Trump for it. Oh, Trump's the one that caused this. If he wouldn't have, and shut the hell up. Trump, the U.S. Attorney's Office, ICE, Homeland Security, Tom Homan, are just complying with United States federal constitutional law. It has been in there. So let me give you this scenario. All you protesters, or Trump's a evil, Tom Homan's a blank, Kristi Noem is mean Barbie. Let's say your child got murdered. Your wife got murdered. Your dad got murdered. In cold blood, heinous crime. So they catch the one who perpetrated the crime, i.e., the heinous crime murderer of your loved one, 20 years later. Are you just going to say, ollie, ollie, oxen, don't prosecute him, let him live as a free man? Meanwhile, that was 20 years ago. How many of those of you all across the board, but especially those who are saying, well, they've been here 20 years, They're working like Newsom and the whole deal and peaceful protesters and all the false narratives they've been putting out. Those are just excuses to flaunt the law for your specific advantage, whether it got you elected, enriched you financially, probably both. That's what the scenario that we're talking about is happening. Tell me how, what their logic, all of them will break down. It's like, it's all Trump's fault. ICE is in town. It's just like the whole narrative. David Herta, the SEIU president, allegedly obstructing justice. Tell me how that is any different than them catching someone who murdered a loved one or anything from you, and they catch them 20 years later and you just say, well, you should just forgive them because that was 20 years ago. How many of you are really going to do that? Yet we're putting up with politicians, union members, heads of unions, as you see in the picture, the multiple Mexican flags. And again, if you want to see Mexico, or you think Mexico is such a great, if you want to live in a cartel-running hellhole place of poverty, then be my guest. Go cross over the San Ysidro border into Mexico and enjoy the rest of your life. Please. I mean, there you go. There it is. Have at it. Knock yourself out. Enjoy it. Get away from us, racist, uncaring, just looking to drive you into the ground. I wouldn't know why you would want to be here. Please explain to me why you want to be in the United States of America, such a terrible place. And you can go out and you want to accept it. You think this is cool. You try, pull that crap down in Mexico or El Salvador or China or Iraq and wave your Mexican flags down there. Well, Mexico might be okay. Go to China and pull that. Wave your Mexican flag down in Iran. Go for it. This stuff is getting absolutely incredulous. So we're at the standpoint of, do you want the United States of America to be and live in the greatest country in the history of the world or not? That's a choice you have. We're not going to tolerate this crap from a bunch of lying snakes. I don't care which end of society or where you're at. We're not going to precipitate lawbreakers for any reason. That's why Trump said, they hit, we spit. Okay. How do you not get that? What part of the English, Spanish, Swahili, whatever language you want to come up with, what part of that do you not understand? We're not playing anymore. This was from the interview on PMSNBC. Good old gulag Gavin Newsom. Here we go.
Out there doing the right thing, but you get these insurgent groups coming in, sort of these anarchists that are in there.
Oh, this has been going on all day. Love it. Gets to the point of we're going to play good like Gavin Newsom. It is split and best, and it goes south. So we shall see if good old gulag Gavin Newsom, who's been acting real ballsy lately, and he has put up a bunch of challenges. All sorts of disingenuous, idiotic, mind-numbing, just off the charts stupid. First off, he put out the challenge. First, it was blame Trump. So, same with Karen Bass. Then we hit all the idiosyncrasies, all the just plain stupidity. And there you go. You have no idea. Nothing. Zero. This is all going to be, how much are we going to tolerate as a society? Are we going to live in a state of anarchy where these people can just burn us to the ground? We have cops that are standing down, not doing their responsibility. Politicians, whether they were ordered to stand down by who? LA, Jim McDonald. Robert Luna is an elected county sheriff. He can do or say whatever he wants as sheriff under his legal responsibilities. Newsom, the highway patrol. We watched them for 24 hours sit there and do nothing. Finally, when Trump said, hey, we're coming back. I'm sending the National Guard and the Marines, which I've heard are headed to Southern California. We're going to put a stop to this stuff. And put a stop to it. It's starting to come about. You notice all of a sudden there was the one down in Compton where they were looting the store. And there it was, no nothing. They're just standing there. Whole bunch of them. They're not overwhelmed. They had plenty of forces there. They waited till the store was completely looted. Then they ran in. That's unacceptable. Then they're crying. McDonald, the chief of police of LA, is crying, well, you know, they're breaking cinder blocks and dropping us on the cops, and we're doing this. Well, you know, jackass, if you would have stood up like you should have in the first darn place and stopped it right when it started, you wouldn't be there. The cops wouldn't be in danger. The public wouldn't be in danger of this. The rioting would have been, you stop that stuff right off the get-go. People block a freeway illegally, you get them off. They block the cars, you get it. You get a 966 loader, cat loader with forks on it, and start forking them off. To get Caltrans out there, whoever, start forking them off the freeway. Get the tow trucks out there to deal with it later. We're giving you 2 minutes to disperse and get your asses out of here. If not, we're coming in. Screw that shit. Pardon my French. We're not tolerating it. For any reason. There is no way we can allow this to stand. Gavin Newsom was, I'm going to blame Trump, and it's all Trump's fault. Karen Bass. Again, go screw yourselves. You are the ones that caused this. Your sanctuary state, your sanctuary cities. Oh, we're going to protect you. We're going to protect the lawbreakers. We're going to stand for those with the lawbreakers. So when you say that, Gavin Newsom, when you say that, Maxine, when you say that, Karen Bass, you're virtue signaling everyone else to go break the law, to burn down cars, to threaten cops, roll fireworks out there, drop cinder blocks on them, run your motorcycle through the barricade, loot stores. We went through this crap last time with the George Floyd crap. And Biden and Harris and all you guys let it go. In fact, Harris was bailing out the criminals. You imagine where we would be in this scenario? If, just perish the thought, Kamala Harris was president, LA would be half burnt down right now, with the rest of LA on the way. Guaranteed, lock, stock, and barrel. There's no doubt in my mind that that would definitely be happening. But we, again, we have tolerated this. We have let it go. We've made too many excuses. We've done it with our schools and no grades and nobody can fail. Everybody gets a trophy. And here we are. There's absolutely no possible way in any sort of sane society that we could survive this. But thank goodness we have Trump in there, first sending in the National Guard, then sending in the Marines. Now there's going to be, as long as Marines are not doing law enforcement, but as far as I understand, they can do backup assist work as long as they're not enforcing the law. They'll be okay, I believe. So let's see. Maybe I've got this back. Here's the first one from Newsom. Let's get, hopefully, to that. See if it plays.
A lot of these folks, a lot of great people out there doing the right thing, but you get these surgeon groups coming in, sort of these anarchists that are in there to create real problems. And they're just playing right into Donald Trump's hand. And they need to be called out. They need to be arrested. It is wrong to destroy other people's property, and it is wrong to create the conditions that only exacerbate this. But Donald Trump, at the end of the day, is the sponsor of these conditions.
Let me give you the opportunity. You mentioned that there are people out there causing.
Well, there it goes again. I don't know why this stuff is throwing me off after 2 seconds. But I guess it's the way of the world. They get some sort of conspiracy theory. But there you go. He's blaming Trump. They've said it was his fault. Jim McDonald, we don't have the video. Jim McDonald, chief of police, said, we were overwhelmed. We were overwhelmed. Then, in the same press conference yesterday, he says, well, I don't think we need the National Guard. Then if you're overwhelmed, where in the hell do you think you were going to get? You're refusing support from the National Guard, from the President of the frickin' United States? You make absolutely no sense. Just like Bass, oh, I'm going to blame Trump. Same thing. We don't need them in here. Newsom, oh, the National Guard doesn't need to be in here. And you're saying you can handle it? No, you can't. You proved it. Cops being assaulted, their lives threatened. $250,000 Waymo cars burnt to the ground. False premise under the one, as Saley, our U.S. attorney, said, they were staging an event, an ICE event, at a federal building a block from the Home Depot in Paramount. They weren't planning to go to the Home Depot, according to Saley. And some guy gets on the internet and blasts it. They're going to get a Home Depot, and then it starts. They're burning the car in Paramount, and here we go. Yeah, David Herta and this other lady, David Herta, president of SEIU, was arrested. But the person, and I'll have to get it since my computers are going all crazy. Well, maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. But the person SEIU's David Herta, head of FSCIU of California, was with, is the president or muck-diddy-muck of one of these NGOs, non-government agency, nonprofit, 36 million. 90% of it from the state of California, which means they took it from the point of gun, for me and you, and gave it to her or that organization. 10% from the feds. They're out there, the allegations is they were out there advertising agitators and setting them up for this. That was posted by Laura Powell, attorney from up in San Francisco. So when you're the boo-hooing about David Herta being arrested, and Saley said, I don't care who you are. You're obstructing law enforcement officers, you will be arrested. He said it. Harmeet Dillon, assistant U.S. attorney, has said it. U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi has said it. Tom Homan has said it. Borders are. Trump has said it. Do you believe it now, David? Paid agitators. Jim McDonald, LA police chief, in his morning press conference today, said it appears they're out of state or out of the area agitators coming in. Well, how the hell did they get organized, Jim? Same people you've been touting with Karen Bass and Newsom and the crew? You and Looney Tunes, the sheriff over there in LA County? This stuff, 11,000%, has got to stop at every opportunity. And it better stop. It will stop. Trump has said as much. Like Dave said, very organized, paid seed protesters. That's what's been going. The evidence is starting to prove that. Of course, they're just allegations at this point. But we will see that. I hope Dave's right. I hope California, and I think there's a good chance it will. In 5 years, California will be red. Because there's nothing more sinister than what's been happening in California. Armando Navarro, 4th District Supervisor Manuel Perez, organizer of La Raza at UCR. Armando Navarro, professor down there in 1994, in the 90s. They were saying, we're going to run out the evil white man. Tell me you didn't. What is Manning, Victor? What's La Raza mean? Please translate that from Spanish to English. What was Navarro and all those cats saying back there 30, 35 years ago? It's going to be an absolute 10,000% wild ass ride. But if we're going to get to make California red, like Dave Stewart says, that's where we're going to be.
They're not happy with the actions.
Let's see if we can get McDonald's deal. I think it's come back up. Here we go.
Of ICE, and then the community that loots and attacks and destroys our city. What would be your direct message to both groups?
Yeah, to the people who are not happy with the fact that ICE is in the community doing what ICE does, you know, I respect ICE for being a fellow law enforcement agency. They have their mission. They have their what they have to do. We don't engage in that activity, but again, we can't preclude them from doing that. They have every right to do that. I ask people in the community to trust the LAPD, that we're not there for that purpose, and that if they have something they need us to be able to address, we're there for them. As far as the big picture of what can I recommend they do or not do, that's something it's a federal issue, and the federal authorities have the right to be able to do what they're doing. As far as people worried about the violence that we're seeing, this violence that I've seen is disgusting.
If it's disgusting, then why didn't you stop it? If you were being overwhelmed, why weren't you first? One of your first calls. Hey, let's get the National Guard. Everybody, other agencies, police departments, sheriff's departments. It's going to be critical here.
Escalated now since the beginning of this incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will...
We are overwhelmed. We are overwhelmed. But no, we don't need we don't need 2,000 National Guard troops in. First off, you weren't overwhelmed. You weren't overwhelmed down in Compton. You watched them loot the store with hundreds of cops watching it. People, like you say, firing fireworks, which can kill you, that's deadly force. If somebody is using deadly force against the cops, tell me how they don't have the right, in fact, the duty, to use the same force back at them. Firing those fireworks was no different than firing a gun, Jimmy boy. More from McDonald's.
The U.S. Army, not for the California State National Guard.
Do we need them?
Do we need them? Well, looking at it tonight, you know, this thing has gotten out of control. Before I could answer that, I'd have to know more about what their capabilities are.
They're getting out of control. We have to know what their capabilities are. Hey, you need bodies. You need people that are trained to deal. National Guard are trained for defense of this state in case of attack. We are being attacked. It is an insurrection, not a peaceful frickin' protest.
Are what their role is intended to be able to make that determination. But we have great cops in Southern California here that work together all the time. So
you can't make that determination. You're getting overwhelmed. You're outgunned. You can't do anything. And but you're, well, I don't know if we need somebody that can come in here and help. I don't want to hear the words peaceful protest. January 6th, insurrection. God, it was drilled into our heads. Air raid sirens, flying banners 24/7 across the skies. These guys, these criminals that are staging mass destruction, threatening people and cops, are deemed peaceful protesters. But then they acknowledge that they're agitators, possibly coming in from out of the area, out of state. Looney Tunes, the sheriff of LA County, said the same thing. We'll deal a little bit more with this. We talked about Dr. Kelly, but I want to touch into, and we'll deal more hopefully tomorrow. The computers, won't go completely. My main computer, I have all the videos, says no internet, which the internet was working fine on everything else. Said to reload everything, yada, yada, yada. Whole day's been going like this. Anyway, let's get to, hopefully, Sheriff Chad. There he is. Finally got him on my deal. Want to touch on, and hopefully we'll get more into this tomorrow because I wasn't able to stay for the whole hearing. But they had the budget hearings. Cut off Chad a little bit, but you'll get to him in a second. The budget hearings, $10 billion budget for Riverside County. Oh, they're starving to death, but they're cutting, according to Sheriff Chad, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. And it appears we're not funding 3/4 of the Benoit jail that have never been occupied. This is 7 years later. You know who's been hollering about this? More from Sheriff Chad. We thought.
Budget ask, but I would also provide my budget flatline that we absolutely must have just to remain the same as the year prior without any backsliding. Out of fairness and full disclosure, this board has always prioritized public safety and has yet to provide me less funds than my baseline request. One of the key points I have made throughout the years is that as a county, we have never realized the true cost of providing law enforcement services to our residents because of a failed relationship between previous sheriff's administrations and the previous executive office and board. I have repeatedly said that if the true costs were not realized and allocated during the budget process, and efforts were not made to increase funding levels to provide not only the basic services to our county, but to also open the John Benoit Detention Center, there would eventually be a day of reckoning caused by kicking the can down the road.
This is what I've been saying for 4 years now. Their plan, the John Benoit, the NDO jail, brand new jail, cost us $300 million. Took us almost 10 years to build. We finally got it open in 2019, just as Sheriff Chad was coming into office. We opened the first floor, and that's it. It has 4 floors, 400 beds per floor. The first floor has only been occupied. Now it's a 7-year budget cycle, and it appears we're not funding it. $10 billion frickin' dollars of a budget, and they're cutting it. Now, whether what went on, and you could take that into what Sheriff Chad said, there's the previous board were not funding it, or it was the sheriff's part, This is what's happening now. See if it's not the same scenario. Here we go.
Unfortunately, that day has come. While this year's EO target did provide a relatively small increase from last year's budget, the increase falls woefully short in keeping us whole. Not only that, the board agreed upon MOU increases for 2024, 2025, not only ate through our savings in our current budget, it caused us to end approximately $10 million in the red without funding behind those increases. Where we stand for next year is roughly $76 million short of remaining at our flat line from this year. Our full budget ask was shorted approximately $130 million, which would have facilitated finally opening the remaining 1,200 beds at the John Benoit Detention Center.
So the Benoit deal seems to be off. It's going to be another year of it, 3/4 of it sitting empty. We got Prop 36 coming. There are going to be more criminals. So let's say Sheriff Chad arrests them. Let's say DA Hestron prosecutes them. Let's say judge convicts them. Where are you going to put them? Board of Supervisors. Plus, you're cutting $76 million to keep the same Sheriff's Department services we had last year, according to Sheriff Chad. No increases, no nothing. We're going to have a lot more to say on that as the week goes on. The final budget's going to be passed on June 24th. I don't know if anybody else spoke on this particular subject. There were a lot of people there talking about their special interests. But we'll get through the tapes tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, and we'll try to get this all straightened out. But it looks like the Benoit jail is going to stay empty, 3/4 empty for another year. And your police services, your Sheriff's Department deputies are going to be cut. Services, budget is going to be cut. That means Chad's going to have to do something to make it work. What's he going to do? You're either going to have to cut personnel.
In about 30 seconds, Roy.
You heard Sean say from KMET we'll be on Mighty Met 1490 AM. Hopefully Dr. Kelly calls in. He usually does. On a Wednesday, or on a Monday. It's been one of those days. But Susan Shelley on Wednesday. I'm already jumping way ahead of myself. We'll get into that. We'll get her thoughts on some of this stuff going on. And there's some news on the vax stuff and COVID.
Here we go. 10 seconds.
America. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
Following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned AM band. Join our vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, YouTube, on the Roy Bleckert channel, not IE Newswire. Check us out, subscribe, doing all that good stuff. Of course, we covered the riots and all the disingenuous crap that's been going on between Newsom and Bass and McDonald and Looney Tunes and all that other stuff going on. It's absolutely blanking ridiculous of what's been happening to us every day. We keep putting up with this torture. It's absolutely nuts. So we usually do on a Monday, we have as I've determined her, supreme physician in all the world, expert on COVID-19 and just about everything else, Dr. Kelly Victory. Welcome to IE Newswire with Roy.
Hey, Roy. Always good to be with you. I'm watching California burn. Watching Gavin Newsom double down on dumb, but also watching some interesting things happening in Washington. This today. So happy to be with you.
That's it, Lilith, and I think I know what it is, but I just ran across it on the Washington stuff in the back, so we'll get to that in a minute or two. But I want to get to this. First off, so from January 6th and everything, insurrection, evil bunch of evil white boys tried to take over and just flush democracy down the toilet. This started off with Karen Bass, with Gavin Newsom, with the chief of police, Jim McDonnell of LA, with the sheriff, Looney Tunes, Robert Luna. Oh, these are peaceful protests. Oh, they're just protesting peacefully. What the hell? If this isn't an insurrection going on right now in Southern California, then you don't know what my contention is. You have no idea what the word insurrection means, Dr. Kelly.
No, that's exactly right, Roy. This is the definition of insurrection. If you compare what's happening today to what happened on January 6th, there is no comparison. You've got people, burning, looting, causing destruction. First of all, the people that we are talking about are here illegally. The people who are largely causing this mayhem are here illegally, and they are here waving the flags of countries that they're supposedly protesting being sent back to. I mean, go figure that out. If I didn't want to be deported back to Mexico, I wouldn't be waving a Mexican flag. Okay? I mean, but that's just me. So there's an element of insanity here. Roy, this is insurrection beyond all. California has allowed these people, it started with them being a sanctuary state and multiple sanctuary cities. The reality is that under the direction of Captain Hairgel, Gavin Newsom, California has over and over again made the wrong choices. They have allowed themselves to be sucked into this idea that if they just make a safe space for a bunch of illegal people and illegal activity, that people will like them? It's crazy. California is on it is circling the drain in tighter and tighter circles. And if we don't get our arms around this, thank God for Donald Trump, we are in trouble.
1,000%. I mean, but we'll roll up the picture of this on the deal, and you look at it. The car burning and the 3 or 4 or 5 Mexican flags. I've said this. If you think Mexico or China or Iraq or Ecuador is a place to be, then please, there's nothing stopping you on this side from going down there. If you want to live in Mexico under the guise of the cartels, because that's who runs the darn place, then please, you can wave your flag down there all you want. But you step out of line one stop, they'll chop your head off and put you in the middle of the frickin' street as a message to everybody else of what happens if you don't obey. That's what the Mexican flag represents from the time they called us in. What, almost 200 years or 150 years ago on the Spanish-American War, the Spaniards were taking them over and they said, please rescue us. And then we took California, we gave them Mexico, and look what they've done with it. Then that's what you want. Please go down there. We're not turning the frickin' United States of America like this as long as I'm sitting on the top side of the grass, Dr. Kelly.
No, I agree. And one of the things I thought was really great today, Roy, I don't promote violence. I thought it was great that they sent the National Guard in. I thought it was actually a good idea that Trump sent the Marines in. But one of the things I thought was interesting is that Donald Trump himself came out and said, one of the things that's happening is that these insurrectionists, and that's what they are up there in the faces of our military, border patrol, and police officers, and they get up and they're spitting at them. And Donald Trump said today, and I loved it, he said, if they get in your face and spit, they spit, you hit. You hit. I'm the commander-in-chief, and I'm telling you, if they spit, you hit. And I think that's what we need. We need a commander in chief like Donald Trump who's willing to say, no, you try that crap in Mexico. You go down and you go to Mexico and start spitting on border patrol and police officers and see what happens. Start spitting at and disrespecting law enforcement in another, and try that in what you name a country, anywhere else. We are the only country that puts up with it. And I love that Donald Trump said, we will not tolerate this. And so I'm hopeful. Frankly, I think that Gavin Newsom wants to get arrested. I think he wants that photo op. He knows that there is nothing there is no leadership on the Democrat side, and I think that Gavin Newsom would love to be put in handcuffs just because he'd love to see that photo op. But I'm telling you, in the meantime, I love that Donald Trump is leading.
1,000%. I've been waiting 31 years. 187, California. We the people, as I'm wearing the shirt, we put a stop to, or we said, we want this stuff to stop. It's not anti-immigration. We have an immigration policy set by Congress, who has plenary power to set anything they want. 1 million come in a year. That's what we approve. And if you go through the process, fine and dandy, welcome aboard. You're a United States citizen. If you want to come in here any way else, then you are subject to the laws of the United States. You are breaking the law. You came in illegally. I don't care if you went 20 years or 2 years or that. I put out the deal. I said, what if one of your loved ones gets heinously murdered in 20 years and they catch the murderer? Are you going to say, ollie, ollie, oxen? No, well, let's just forgive them. We're not going to do, da-da-da. No, hell no. You're going to say, fry the MFer at the stake. I mean, tell all those that are illegally breaking the law down in Southern California, that's what they're advocating for. That's what they want done in this situation, Dr. Kelly.
No, I agree. And I think a big, big part of the problem, Roy, is that kids, and when I say kids, I mean anybody under the age of 40, frankly, do not understand exactly what's happening to our country. They don't understand that there are people who are changing everything about it. It's not just the heinous, and they are heinous crimes that are being committed, but it's the very culture. I watch every day. I don't spend a lot of time on social media. My only social media that I do is on X. I've never been on Facebook. I don't do Instagram or the rest of it. But I'll tell you, people post videos almost every day now saying, we are not the same. And they post videos of people from different cultures who are coming into this country, and they are ruining it. They don't want to assimilate to our culture. They don't want to become American. Our forefathers had the idea when they wrote, the Declaration of Independence, when they wrote our Constitution, when the awesome Statue of Liberty was resurrected. It was about the idea that people would come here and assimilate, become American. And we embrace that. We don't embrace the idea that you come here, destroy our country, spit on our military and on our values, wave your flags in our face and tell us what we have to do, and then behave in ways that are so heinous, that are so objectionable, that nobody would want that in their country. I mean, we've got to, and unless we get people to see this, and that's why I think it's helpful for people to post the videos of what's actually going on.
When Hillary Clinton said, if you come to this country, you follow our laws, you learn English. This one, she was running for president in 2016 the first time against Donald J.
Right.
She said that. She said, you don't come in here trying to make Mexico, China, Iraq into the United States. You want to be a citizen of this country. You pledge allegiance to the United States. to our flag. You celebrate our flag, our country. If you want to be one of us, then this is what is expected of you. Not that you're going to bring the cartel-run country of Mexico or the drug run of Colombia or Ecuador or the communists of China or the totalitarians of Iraq or whatever. That ain't happening. Let's make that clear to everybody that's on here or listening. You did, and you don't like. You think Roy's just he's just a redneck hillbilly. That was Hillary Rodham Clinton. Dr. Kelly.
No, so try this analogy. Maybe this will help for those people who don't get it, Roy. I'm not going to argue with you whether Italian food or Chinese food is better. You like Italian, I like Chinese, whatever. I'm not going to argue it. But if you walk into an Italian restaurant, that's your choice. You walk into it and demand an egg roll, you're not going to get one. Okay? You chose the wrong place. Likewise, if you go into a Chinese restaurant and demand lasagna, they're not obligated to serve it to you. So if you don't want to be in a country, America is very clear about what we are. We're a republic. We have a very set of rules. We have a set culture. We have a set standard. China has something different. Mexico has something different. Venezuela has something different. Pick your restaurant and pick it well and then go there. You don't get to come to my restaurant and demand that I change the menu to fit what you want to eat because you chose the wrong restaurant. Okay?
1,000.
Go somewhere else.
1,000%. Again, you come to the United States, you are coming to not a democracy, a representative republic. That's what, get that
Correct.
through your heads, people. This is not, when they shout democracy, I guarantee you would not want true democracy. You live that, what they're trying to tell you, just like Gavin Newsom and everybody, Kamala Harris, they sell you a bill of goods. They prey on your fears. But I want to get to this part of it. And I heard something about it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Health and Human Services Secretary, said something about getting rid of people that were on the vax or something. Can you fill us in on that, Dr. Kelly?
Yes. Bobby Kennedy just cleared house. He eliminated, I don't want to, terminated, kicked out, whatever, all of the people on the longtime ACIP committee, which is the committee that has for decades determined what happens with regards to vaccine. It's a it's the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, ACIP. It is a really important thing for him to do. He is clearing house. He's saying, in order to regain public trust, and I have been a huge proponent of this, we have got to clear house and get these people out of there, because the people who have been on the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices are the people who have given the direction to the CDC with regard to what vaccines, for example, end up on the childhood schedule. They have continued over and over again to make horrific decisions in the face of even, clear evidence, research, data that shows that things are harmful. They're saying, we'll put it on the childhood schedule anyway. So this is huge. I think it's a huge move. I'm fundamentally shocked that he did it, given how limited his powers have seemed to be recently. But I am absolutely thrilled. It's the right thing to do, and we need more of it, more cleaning house.
I'm glad you confirmed that, because I just heard it on the news reports as I was driving around today, and I hope this is what Dr. Kelly has been advocating for. I don't know how long it has been, well, at least since the Trump administration, at least has come in, that they do this. Obviously, we knew Harris Biden wasn't going to do it, but that you've been waiting for that. And what it was, 4 or 5 months, it finally took them to get around to doing it, but we're finally starting to see a turnaround. not only with immigration policy and everything else. Maybe we're finally getting to that point that we're going to have, and I think this is where we need to go. And we got a couple minutes left of that. We need to overhaul our whole healthcare system and get it back to the way it used to be, where you took care of your primary care, your insurance took care of if you had any sort of emergency coming on, because now Health and Human Services, of a $10 billion Riverside County budget they just rolled out today, almost half of it is going to Health and Human Services now. Public safety's down to 23%, roads down to 12. This is the what you wanted with Obamacare, when Nancy said you only don't get to read the bill until we pass it. Now we're here. We need to, this is something in the next 3 years we really need to break down on a national level. We've got a couple minutes left.
No, I agree, and I think it's interesting. I've been quite critical during the initial couple of months of the administration about what they've been able to do at HHS. In the last couple of days, I've seen a significant pivot, Roy. All of a sudden, Marty Makary, who, I'm not a big fan of him at the head of the FDA, but he came out and said the God's truth, which is the doctor-patient relationship is sacrosanct. He said, the FDA is not your doctor. Thank you, Jesus. He said it. No, they are not. And he said, we have got to reestablish the relationship between patients and their physicians and let those two components those two entities make the decisions. It should not come from the government. So I'm seeing some really, really great moves. That on top of Bobby Kennedy today announcing that he was clearing house with ACIP. That's huge. I'm there's no question that Donald Trump has been reticent to allow them to remove the vaccines from the schedule or to remove them from the market. But when you start to see some really important moves, I think this is great, and I continue to believe that Robert Kennedy Jr. has America's best interest in mind. He is foundationally and directionally correct in what he is doing, and I continue to support him. So, keep your eyes out, watch for what's happening, and if you can take your eyes off the screen of what's happening in California, as it's burning, and imploding and falling into the ocean, then do that. But I'm telling you, what's happening in Washington right now, I think is good.
Lots of positive things happening that we have to look forward to on a lot of fronts. And just keep that in mind when you're watching all this coverage of that. There are some good things happening that aren't necessarily getting broadcast because of this, but we'll put it out there. And eventually you got to believe right's going to win. Thanks for being on, Dr. Kelly. We'll do this again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, Roy.
Dr. Kelly Victory, as we say, saying it only as she can. Man, we have a lot of stuff to get through on today's show. Well, the computer failure, we'll pick up some RivCo budget, Riverside County budget. They're cutting the public safety budget, mainly the sheriff's department. We're down there. We'll get some more confirmation of that. I wasn't able to stay till the whole hearing. June 24th is going to be the drop dead deadline on this. So get your stuff together, because I don't know that we will be able to change it, but it's a fight. It's a little bit dicey. I'm going to try to put that. We're not done yet. So we'll see that. Let's check through some of the local news. It's been 4 decades since U.S. Marines were deployed on U.S. soil, and that was an insurrection act during the Los Angeles riots. Of that, they're being deployed again. Here. So they say Marines can't be deployed. They were during the Rodney King deal, back in 92, and in the 65 Watts riots. No, they can't be law enforcement, but they can assist. Wish Canine Kitty a happy birthday from the Hemet Police Department. Last day of the year, St. Francis de Sales School. Been there for God, as long as I've been around. I've been around parts of 7 decades. The Catholic school down in downtown Riverside. I think it's been there 107 years. It's slated to close. Was just by there at the board hearings anyway. New homicide investigation near Fontana Speedway in Fontana, reported by Inland Wire. RTA is hiring, Riverside Transit Agency. So if you need a job, check them out. City of Glendale terminates ICE contract amid ICE protests. What a bunch of chicken bleeps. Rat rod of the day. There with the, yes, blowing fire and flames and smoke out of the exhaust pipes on that. Good job on that. Got to have some fun somewhere. You see that? Don't let them gaslight you. This is Gavin Newsom's lawless California. Our state deserves better, Sheriff Chad Bianco. This is true. Donald J. Trump, Governor Gavin Newsom, and Mayor Bass should apologize to the people of Los Angeles for the absolutely horrible job they have done, and this now includes the ongoing LA riots. They are not protesters. They are troublemakers and insurrectionists. Remember, no mask. That's why we love Donald J. Of that, Upland police discovered a burglary at a restaurant. It's a good job uncovering that. Upland police. A message from Sheriff Chad Bianco. He put out a message on the LA riots and the turmoil that was going on that. There's more from the 29 Palms Marines. And I think some from Camp Pendleton, which are being deployed at Los Angeles over the insurrectionists down there. Lake Elsinore's partnering with the Chamber of Commerce, Lake Sheriff's Station, partnering with the Chamber of Commerce during the 11th Hump Day Mixer. 104 pounds of cocaine found in Riverside County. The Border Patrol busted that down at the Temecula checkpoint. Thank goodness they're there. Harupa Valley has wanted to recognize their emergency response team for having a vital part in their community. So we love the emergency responders down there. Again, Beaumont Nose Service pointing out these false deals, like which touched off a lot of this down in LA, the false reports of going on, oh, ICE is here, ICE is there. Another good rat rod from Minnesota doing a little dirt throwing out there. Gotta love it. There's another one, 107 years, the last day for St. Francis School. Man accused of child porn to sue San Bernardino County after charges were dropped. That was from KTLA 5. Restaurant workers helping the cops who were getting blasted with the fireworks and stuff in assorted compounds. It's a good job for the Compton restaurant who was taking care of the first responders. Ruby's restaurant slated to be demolished. A big deal down in Cabazon. Hey, we got through the local report and the other stuff and the challenges of the computers and stuff going. Well, it was actually the net. I don't know what it was. Wasn't the net. No, they kept us going. One of my computers, just all the stuff that I have ready to go just went. And it takes like 16 years to get that stuff back out. But we soldiered through. We mucked through it today. We'll have more, of course, on the ongoing insurrection. Please proffer it rightly. Mockingbird Media, politicians, as Trump did. Insurrection going down in SoCal. More in the budget. Are they really cutting public safety? The Riverside County Sheriff's Department, are the supervisors really going to do that? Man, we got a lot of stuff prepared to do this week. That'll do it for today. We usually say at this time, mandatory you're back here 23 hours wide. We're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
The preceding was a paid program.
All right, Roy. Well, man, this shit gets so much crazier in this damn state. I swear to God, man.
Hey, you cats don't pay attention. They're going to cut the frickin' police budget. On top of that, they ain't going to they're planning on opening the rest of the Indio jail.
Well, not like the LAPD did anything anyway. You know what I mean? Until
Yeah, but that's Riverside County, son. They're cutting the sheriff's department.
Oh wow.
That's what it was running. Well, you didn't get to it much. Go back and watch the rest of it. I'll have more of it in the rest of the week. They're cutting the Riverside County Sheriff's Department budget.
Wow.
In Riverside County, Sheriff Chad's pissed.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I can understand why. Jesus Christ.
And then, like you said, all that I'm screaming about the Indio jail, there's 7 years, 3/4 of it. This will be the 8th year, 7 years. That 3/4 of it will not be done, will not be occupied.
Jesus.
Telling you.
I swear to God, man. Yeah, if I had money, I would be out of this state in a heartbeat, man.